The sky over the Jaren prison world was always dark, as if the sun was afraid to shine there. Tall metal towers reached into the clouds like cold fingers, and the air smelled of smoke and old blood. Every creature who lived on this world knew one truth. No one escaped the Jaren Empire, but Arya did not care about that truth. She only cared about one thing: her little sister Lena, and that night, she was going to save her. Even if the whole galaxy tried to stop her, Arya moved across the metal bridge in total silence. Her feet made no sound, and her eyes studied every shadow. She had spent months planning this rescue. She had stolen maps, bribed guards, hacked locked doors, and almost died 3 times. But nothing could stop her, because at sunrise, the Empire wanted to execute Lena. They claimed the young girl carried a dangerous human gene. They said this gene made humans unpredictable, powerful, and impossible to control. Arya didn't care about alien science or strange experiments. Lena was only 14, small, kind, and brave. A child who did not deserve any of this. Arya reached the last checkpoint. A heavy steel gate blocked the way to the execution chamber. She pressed her back to the wall and waited. 2 alien guards walked by, speaking in their sharp, clicking language. Arya didn't understand the words, but she understood their weapons well. One wrong move and she would be dead before she even saw Lena. When the guards turned the corner, Arya slid forward. She pulled a stolen security card from her jacket and held her breath. The scanner blinked red, then yellow, then green. The gate opened with a slow hiss. Arya slipped inside. Her heart pounding like a drum. The room beyond was large and cold. Blue lights shone from the ceiling, casting long shadows across the floor. And at the center of the room stood Lena. Trapped inside a glass cage, her eyes were closed, her wrists locked in metal cuffs. She looked too pale, too thin, too tired. Arya felt her chest tighten when she saw her. She wanted to run to her sister, but she forced herself to stay calm. Arya moved to the control panel and began working quickly. Her hands shook as she typed in the code she had memorized. A loud warning beep echoed through the room. The glass cage unlocked with a sharp click. "Lena," Arya whispered as she ran to her. Lena's eyes opened slowly, weak and confused. "Arya?" "You came," she whispered, hardly believing it. "Of course I came," Arya said, lifting her gently. "I'm taking you home." But the moment Arya turned toward the exit, sirens exploded across the entire prison complex. Red lights flashed, alarms screamed, and a robotic voice shouted warnings in the Jaren language. They were caught. Arya held Lena close and ran, her legs burning as she sprinted down the long hallways. The whole prison shook as heavy doors slammed shut one by one. Alien soldiers rushed in from all sides, weapons glowing bright blue. Arya fired her stolen blaster, hitting lights, cameras, anything that slowed the soldiers, but she did not stop to fight. She knew a battle would get them both killed. Escape was the only chance. "Arya." "They're coming," Lena whispered, her voice trembling. "I know," Arya said, breathing hard. "Just hold on. I won't let them take you again." They burst through an emergency door and slipped into the metallic forest outside the prison. The trees there were tall, made of living metal that twisted like smooth wires. The air was cold and silent, except for the sound of running feet behind them. Arya pushed forward, hiding between strange glowing vines and alien roots. She knew these forests were dangerous, home to hunting machines and wild alien beasts. But nothing was more dangerous than staying close to the prison. After several minutes of running, she found an old abandoned shelter built by fugitives long ago. She carried Lena inside and closed the door quietly. Both sisters collapsed on the floor. Breathing heavily, for a moment, there was silence. Arya brushed Lena's hair away from her eyes and tried to smile. "You're safe now," she whispered. Lena nodded weakly, but she looked afraid. "Arya, they..." They didn't want to kill me, Lena said softly. Arya froze at those words. What do you mean? She asked. Lena swallowed, her voice shaking. They said I have something inside me. Something humans are not supposed to have. Arya stared at her, confused and scared, before she could ask more. Something outside the shelter moved. A soft, slow knock hit the metal door. Once, twice, then a long pause. Arya felt every muscle in her body turn to ice. No one should have found them so fast. No one should know they were here. The knock came again, this time louder. Arya reached for her weapon. Lena crawled backward, eyes wide with fear. The air felt heavy, as if something dark waited just outside. Arya whispered, "Stay behind me." Then the door handle slowly began to turn. And the nightmare of the Jaren Empire had just begun. The metal door of the shelter shook as the handle slowly turned. Arya lifted her weapon, her hands tight but steady. She had escaped the prison, saved Lena, and survived the chase. She was ready to die before letting anyone take her sister again. But nothing prepared her for what stepped inside. A tall figure entered the room without a single sound. He moved like smoke, smooth and cold. His body was covered in dark armor that reflected no light, and his face. There was no face, only a blank silver mask that showed no eyes. No mouth, no emotion, just a shining surface that made Arya's skin crawl. For a moment, none of them breathed. The air became tight, heavy, almost frozen. Arya pointed her blaster at his chest. "Stay back," she warned, her voice shaking but fearless. The assassin did not raise a weapon. He simply tilted his head, studying her as if she was an insect. Then a strange, echoing voice came from the mask. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. "I am not here for you," the voice said. Arya stepped between him and Lena instantly. "Then you are not touching her," Arya said sharply. The assassin lifted a hand slowly, not threatening, but almost calm. "If I wanted the girl dead," he said, "you would both already be dead." A cold shiver ran down Arya's spine. He was not lying, she could feel it. But that only made him more dangerous. "What do you want?" Arya asked. The assassin lowered his hand and spoke again. "I have a message," he said, "from the Jaren High Council." Arya tightened her grip on her weapon. "They already sent soldiers," she said. "We are not going back." The assassin's mask reflected the small lantern light. "They did not send me to bring you back," he answered. "They sent me because your sister is alive." "And that is a problem." Lena hid behind Arya, clutching her arm. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "He was there." "In my dreams." Arya looked back at her, shocked. "What?" She whispered back. The assassin stepped closer. Arya fired a warning shot at the floor, sparks flying everywhere. "Come one step closer and you will do nothing," he said calmly. His tone was not angry, only certain. "You do not understand the danger you are in." Arya kept her weapon raised. "Explain," she demanded. The assassin nodded slightly, almost respectful. "Very well," he said. "The Empire told you the girl carries a dangerous human gene." Arya felt Lena's fingers grip her tighter. "That was not a lie," he continued. "But it was not the full truth either." Arya's heart pounded in her chest. "What truth?" she asked. The assassin's blank face turned toward Lena. "The girl carries a gene that was created by ancient humans," he said. "A gene that can awaken. Something powerful." "What kind of power?" Arya asked, but the assassin did not answer her directly. Instead he said, "Human history is not what you believe. There was a time when humans were feared across the galaxy. Your species was stronger than you know." Arya shook her head, refusing to believe it. "We are barely surviving," she said. "We are struggling to stay free." "Yes," the assassin replied. "Because the Jaren Empire made you weak. They changed your blood centuries ago. But the girl carries the original human spark." Lena slowly stepped out from behind Arya, her voice soft and unsure. I don't want power, she whispered. The assassin turned his mask toward her. It is not about what you want, he said. It is about what you are. Arya felt fear rise inside her like ice water. So what does the Empire want with her? She asked. The assassin's voice grew colder. They want to control her, he said. And if they cannot control her, they will destroy her. Arya stepped forward, her weapon aimed at his throat. Then why are you here? She demanded. To kill her? The assassin shook his head. If that was my mission, he said quietly, you would not be speaking to me. Arya swallowed hard. Then what is your mission? The assassin paused, as if choosing his words carefully. My mission, he said at last, is to warn you. Arya's breath caught. Warn us about what? She asked. The assassin's echoing voice grew even softer. The Empire does not want her blood, he said. They want something inside her mind. Lena's eyes widened. Arya grabbed her hand, confused and scared. What is inside her mind? Arya asked. Silence filled the room. The assassin finally answered. Memories, he said. Memories that do not belong to her. Arya felt chills crawl across her skin. What kind of memories? She whispered. The assassin turned toward the door, his body dissolving into shadow-like movement. Memories of a war, he said. A war humans lost long ago. He stepped into the doorway, but before he vanished into the forest, he spoke one last time. Protect the girl, he said. Because the Empire has changed its orders. Arya's heartbeat quickened. What orders? She asked, her voice shaking. The assassin's voice echoed like a cold wind. They no longer want her captured, he said. They want her erased. Then he disappeared into the metallic trees, leaving Arya and Lena alone. Alone with fear, questions, and a terrible truth. The chase had not ended tonight. It had only begun. The metallic forest was quiet after the faceless assassin disappeared. Too quiet, the kind of silence that made even the trees feel afraid. Arya locked the shelter door and pulled Lena close. Her hands were shaking, but her voice stayed strong. We need to talk, she said. Lena nodded slowly. Her eyes wide and filled with fear. Arya lit a small lamp, filling the shelter with a soft orange glow. Shadows danced on the walls like silent ghosts. Lena sat down, hugging her knees. Arya knelt in front of her. Lena, she said gently, what did he mean? Memories that don't belong to you? Lena looked down at the floor, her fingers twisted together nervously. I didn't tell you everything, she whispered. Arya felt her chest tighten. Tell me now, she said softly. I need to know. Lena closed her eyes. When I was in the prison, she began. They made me sleep and dream with machines around my head. Arya clenched her jaw, angry and horrified. What did they do to you? She whispered. They showed me places I've never been, Lena said. Old cities made of silver towers, broken ships floating in dark space. I saw humans, but not like us. These humans were strong, tall, fast. Arya stared at her in disbelief. Lena, those could be hallucinations, she said. But Lena shook her head quickly. No, they felt real, she said, her voice trembling. They felt like I lived them. Arya placed a hand on her shoulder. Dreams can feel real, she said gently, but Lena wasn't done. I heard voices too, she whispered. Voices calling me by a name. Arya froze. A name? She repeated. Lena nodded and spoke a strange word slowly. Vector. Arya had never heard the word before, yet it sent a cold shiver through her. Did the Empire call you that? Arya asked. No, Lena said softly. The voices did. Arya tried to stay calm. But she knew this was more than nightmares. The assassin's words echoed in her mind. The girl carries the original human spark. Memories that do not belong to her. Arya sat beside Lena. Why didn't you tell me earlier? She asked. Lena hugged herself tighter. I thought I was going crazy, she said. And I didn't want to worry you. Arya pulled her into a gentle embrace. "You can tell me anything," she whispered. "You're not alone." But before Lena could respond, something strange happened. A sudden sharp vibration filled the air, like the world itself had taken a breath. The lamp flickered, and the metal walls hummed softly. Lena grabbed her head and gasped. "Arya." "Something's happening," she whispered. Arya held her tightly, panic rising inside her. "What do you feel?" she asked. Lena's voice shook as she answered. "It's like something waking up inside me. I hear whispers again." Arya didn't know what to do. She was a fighter, a survivor, not a scientist. She had no idea how to handle strange alien genes or ancient human powers. The humming grew stronger. The shelter lights flashed wildly, then settled into a dim blue glow. Lena's breathing slowed. Her eyes opened wide, glowing faintly with a soft silver light. Arya stumbled back in shock. "Lena?" she whispered. Lena blinked, and the glow faded. "I'm okay," she said softly, but Arya could see she wasn't. "What was that?" Arya asked, breathless. Lena shook her head, confused and scared. "I don't know," she said. "But it happens more now." Arya paced the room, trying to think. The assassin had said the Empire wanted Lena erased. They must have known this power was beginning to awaken. Arya knew they couldn't stay in the shelter. The Empire would not stop. "Not now, not ever." She turned toward Lena. "We need to leave," Arya said. "Tonight." Lena stood slowly, still a little shaky. "Where will we go?" she asked. Arya took a deep breath. "To the human colonies," she said. "Someone there might understand what's happening to you." Lena hesitated. "What if the Empire catches us before we get there?" she asked. Arya rested a hand on her shoulder. "Then I fight," Arya said firmly. "And I don't stop until you're safe." Before Lena could answer, another sound broke the silence, a soft chirping noise from Arya's stolen communicator. She grabbed it quickly. A hologram message flickered in the air. Static danced before forming a clear image. Not of a person, but a symbol, a Jaren war crest. Then a message played in a cold mechanical voice. "Return the girl," the voice ordered. "Or Earth burns," Lena gasped and stepped back. Arya's heart crashed inside her chest. Earth, her home, her people, her family. They were threatening the entire planet. Arya crushed the communicator under her boot. The screen shattered, sparks dying on the floor. "They're lying," she said quickly. "They're trying to scare us." But deep inside, she wasn't sure. The Jaren Empire did not make empty threats. They destroyed whole planets before. They could do it again. Lena's voice was small and fragile. "Arya, what if it's true?" Arya turned to her with fierce determination. "Then we protect Earth," she said. "No matter what." Outside, the metallic forest rustled softly, as if warning them that time was running out. The Empire was coming, and whatever lived inside Lena was waking up faster than anyone expected. The sisters packed their few supplies, stepped out into the cold alien night, and began a journey that would change the fate of humans forever. The metallic forest felt colder than before. As Arya and Lena left the shelter, the trees stood tall like silent watchers. Bending slightly in the dark wind, Arya held Lena's hand tightly, guiding her through the twisted metal roots. She kept her senses sharp, listening for every sound, every whisper of danger. They had only one goal now: get off the planet before the Jaren Empire closed every path. Lena walked quietly beside her, her face pale, her eyes tired, but stronger than before. After everything she had seen and felt, she still followed Arya without hesitation. Arya admired her bravery, but it also scared her, because bravery alone would not save them tonight. They traveled for hours through broken pathways and old supply tunnels. Arya avoided the main roads where drones hunted fugitives with cold precision. Lena stayed close, sometimes stopping to hold her head when the whispers returned. But she forced herself forward each time. Arya whispered encouragement. "We're almost there," she said softly. Lena nodded, even though she wasn't sure she believed it. Finally, they reached a small cliff overlooking an abandoned hangar. A massive dome made of cracked metal and flickering lights. Old ships lay inside like sleeping beasts. Forgotten by the Empire, Arya smiled for the first time in hours. "This is it," she whispered. "Our way out." They slid down the rocky slope and crept inside through a broken service gate. The air smelled of rust and old fuel. Machines and wires hung from the ceiling like giant spider webs. Most of the ships were too damaged to fly, but one caught Arya's eye. A small scout ship, silver and compact. With only minor damage, it wasn't perfect. But it would have to do. Arya opened the side hatch and pushed Lena inside. She quickly scanned the controls. The ship's systems flickered weakly but responded. She felt a small spark of hope. Maybe the universe hadn't given up on them yet. Lena sat in the co-pilot seat, staring at the stars through the cockpit glass. Her voice was soft when she spoke. "Arya, do you think Earth is safe?" Arya paused, then answered. "It will be," she said firmly. "Once we find out what's happening to you. We'll protect it." Lena nodded, but her hands trembled slightly. She wasn't worried only about Earth. She was worried about herself, every hour. The strange force inside her grew louder, clearer, more real, as Arya activated the engines. The ship vibrated violently, lights blinked on, and the dashboard glowed pale blue. Suddenly, a loud alarm blasted across the hangar. Lena gasped. "Arya? Someone's coming." Arya cursed under her breath and slammed the ignition. The ship lifted off the ground slowly, struggling to stay stable. Outside the hangar, shadows moved with inhuman speed. Jaren soldiers poured in, their armor glowing blue under the dim lights. Arya gritted her teeth and pulled the ship upward. "Hold on," she warned. Lena gripped the seat tightly, her heart pounding. Blaster fire exploded around them. Blue beams cut through the air, striking the hangar ceiling. Metal rained down like deadly hail, but Arya twisted the ship sharply. Dodging the shots with desperate skill, the ship shot through the broken roof, rising into the dark sky like a silver arrow. Lena watched the soldiers shrink below them. But just as she began to breathe easier, another alarm screamed. A massive Jaren warship was rising behind them, heavy and terrifying. Its engines glowing like a burning sun. "Arya, they're right behind us," Lena whispered. Arya didn't look back. "I know," she said through clenched teeth. "Hold tight." She pushed the ship forward at maximum speed. The stars became bright streaks outside the window. The warship fired a massive blue beam that nearly tore them apart. The scout ship spun violently, alarms blaring. Lena cried out, clutching her chest as another wave of whispers filled her mind. Voices calling her again and again. "Vector. Vector." Arya grabbed Lena's arm. "Stay with me," she said. "We're not dying here." She spotted a dark region of space ahead, a place every pilot feared. An area with no signals, no light, no sound. "Dead space," Lena whispered weakly, her voice cracked with fear. "No one goes in there." Arya looked at her, determination burning in her eyes. "Exactly," she said. "They won't follow us inside." Lena shook her head. "Arya, it's dangerous." "It's better than getting blown up by the Empire," Arya replied. The Jaren warship fired again. A beam sliced past them, narrowly missing their tail. Arya pulled the ship hard toward dead space. The darkness ahead swallowed everything. Even the stars disappeared. Lena felt the whispers grow sharper, louder, stronger. "Something is in there," she whispered, terrified. "Something old." Arya didn't turn back. She held the controls with steady hands. "We don't have a choice," she said. "We're going in." And with a final burst of speed, the ship plunged into dead space, Darkness closed around them like a giant mouth. The stars vanished, the engines fell silent, and the universe itself seemed to stop breathing. Inside the endless black, something stirred. Something watching them with ancient eyes. Lena whispered one last trembling word. Arya. We're not alone. The ship drifted deeper into the void, with danger behind them and something even greater waiting ahead. Dead space wrapped around the small scout ship like a living shadow. There was no light, no stars, no sound. Even the ship's engines fell into a heavy silence. As if the darkness itself swallowed every vibration, Arya gripped the controls tightly. Her hands were steady, but her breath was thin. She had flown through storms, battles, and collapsing ruins. But nothing felt as terrifying as the quiet void stretching around them. Lena sat frozen in her seat, her eyes wide as she stared into the endless black. She felt the whispers again, only this time they weren't soft or distant. They were clear, almost too clear, voices echoing inside her head, calling her by that strange name she didn't understand. Vector, they whispered. Vector has returned. Arya noticed Lena's expression and leaned toward her. You're hearing them again, she said gently. Lena nodded, her voice trembling. Arya. They're louder now. They're talking to me like they know me. Arya swallowed hard. She had no idea how to protect Lena from voices inside her own mind. But she wasn't giving up. Stay with me, she whispered. We'll get through this. Suddenly the ship jerked violently. Warning lights flashed red across the dashboard. The whole vessel shook as if being pulled by invisible hands. Arya tightened her grip on the controls. What's happening? She whispered to herself. Lena pressed her hands to her temples. It's not the Empire, she said weakly. It's something else. Before Arya could respond, an enormous shadow appeared in the darkness ahead. At first, it looked like a mountain drifting in space. But as it moved closer, it took shape. A massive alien warship, silent and black. Far larger than any Jaren ship Arya had ever seen. The entire hull glowed with faint silver patterns, lines that resembled ancient symbols moving like rivers of light. The ship drifted without engines, without noise. Yet it pulled their scout ship closer with unseen force. Arya's heart pounded. This is impossible, she whispered. No ship this huge should be able to hide in dead space. Lena stared at it with shaking hands. I know this place, she whispered. I've seen it in my dreams. Arya's head snapped toward her in shock. Dreams? Lena, be careful. But Lena wasn't hearing her anymore. The alien warship glowed brighter, and a deep vibration filled the air. Not through sound, but through their minds. A voice echoed inside Lena's head, soft, ancient, and powerful. Child of the spark, the voice said. You have arrived. Lena gasped and clutched the sides of her seat. Arya grabbed her arm. What's wrong? What do you hear? Lena whispered the words slowly. They're calling me. Chosen Vector. The massive ship emitted a long beam of silver light. It wrapped around their vessel like a gentle hand, pulling them closer until they were only meters away. Arya tried to vate the engines, but every system shut down at once. The controls went dark. The ship no longer belonged to her. The scout ship drifted slowly into a large glowing entrance on the warship side, like being swallowed by a giant ancient creature inside. The enormous chamber lit up with soft white light. The air felt strangely warm and alive, as if the ship itself was breathing. Arya stood up slowly, her blaster ready, but the moment she pointed it forward, a gentle pulse of energy pushed her hand down, not painful, just firm. It doesn't want to hurt us, Lena whispered. Arya turned to her sharply. And how do you know that? Lena placed a hand on her chest. I can feel it, she said. It's talking to me. Before Arya could argue, a long glowing walkway formed beneath their feet, leading deeper into the massive ship. It felt like walking on light. Arya stepped forward cautiously, her boots making no sound as they walked. The walls shifted slowly, forming shapes and patterns. Images of old battles, broken planets, and human warriors with glowing eyes. Arya stopped in shock. "Lena." "Those humans," she whispered. "They look nothing like us." Lena nodded slowly. "But they feel familiar," she said. "Like I've seen them before." A soft voice echoed around the chamber. This time Arya heard it too. "Welcome, Vector," the ship said. "You have returned to the core memory." Arya stepped in front of Lena protectively. "Who are you?" she demanded. "What do you want with my sister?" The walls glowed brighter. "I am the Whispering Ship," the voice said, "created by the first humans, and your sister carries their final gift." Lena swallowed nervously. "What gift?" she asked. The ship responded gently. "The gene of awakening," it said. "Your species was once powerful beyond fear, but the Jaren Empire changed your blood. Made humans weak, made humans forget. But you," it continued, "you are the spark they could not destroy." Arya felt her heart sink and rise at the same time. Fear and hope twisted together inside her. "You're saying Lena is some kind of chosen one?" Arya whispered. "No," the ship corrected. "She is a bridge, a link between the humans of the past and the humans of the future." Lena stepped forward slowly. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. The Whispering Ship pulsed softly. "To choose," it said. "Join the ancient power within you, or let the Jaren Empire burn everything you love." Arya grabbed Lena's arm. "You don't have to choose anything," she said fiercely. "You're just a child." But the ship disagreed. "She is not a child," it said gently. "She is the awakening." Before either sister could speak, the whole chamber trembled with sudden force. Alarms rang throughout the ship. A deep roar echoed outside. Something huge was approaching dead space, something hunting them. And the Whispering Ship whispered a warning. "They found you," it said. "The Jaren Empire is here." Arya and Lena turned toward the entrance, fear echoing through their hearts. Because the war was no longer far away. It had just arrived at their door. The Whispering Ship trembled as the alarm echoed through its huge glowing halls. White lights flickered across the living metal walls like nervous veins. Arya pulled Lena behind her, her body tense and ready to fight. "What's happening?" she demanded. The ship's soft voice answered at once. "The Jaren Empire has entered dead space. They should not be able to follow. But they have found a way." Arya clenched her fists. "They won't stop," she whispered. "They want Lena." Lena stood still, feeling the whispers inside her growing stronger. Her heart pounded with a strange mix of fear and something else. Something hot, powerful, and alive. "I can feel them," Lena whispered. "They're close." Arya turned sharply toward her. "Stay behind me," she ordered, but Lena shook her head weakly. "I don't think I can hide anymore," she said quietly. Before Arya could respond, a massive vibration shook the chamber. The walls rippled like water. The Whispering Ship spoke again. "They are trying to break through the outer shell." Arya raised her blaster, but the ship spoke firmly. "Your weapon is useless against what is coming." A deep roar filled the air. A Jaren drilling machine designed to cut through any hull. The noise was sharp, metallic, and terrifying. Arya grabbed Lena's hand and pulled her back. "We need to move," she whispered. "We can't let them inside." A glowing doorway formed in the wall, leading into a long corridor lit with pulsing silver veins. "Follow this path," the Whispering Ship instructed. "It will take you to the core." Arya hesitated. "What's in the core?" she asked. "Answers," the ship replied. "And power." Lena's breath trembled. "Arya." "I'm scared." Arya squeezed her hand. "I am too," she admitted. "But we do this together." The sisters ran into the corridor, their footsteps silent on the glowing floor. Behind them, the drilling sound grew louder. Metal screeched as something sharp tore through the whispering ship's hull. Arya didn't look back. She could not afford fear now. Lena stayed close. But her eyes flickered with faint silver light. The whispers inside her mind grew louder, echoing like distant thunder. "You are the spark," the voices said. "You must rise, asterisk." They reached the core chamber, a giant circular room filled with swirling lights. A sphere of living energy floated in the center. It pulsed like a giant heartbeat, soft, warm, calling to Lena. Arya stepped in front of her. "No," she said quickly. "You're not touching anything until we know what it does." But the whispering ship spoke again. "She must connect. It is the only way to protect her." Arya shook her head fiercely. "She's just a girl. Stop calling her something she's not." The ship's voice softened, almost sad. "She has been chosen since the moment she was born. You cannot stop what is already inside her." Lena took a shaky breath. "I feel it, Arya," she whispered. "It's like it's calling me." Arya grabbed her shoulders, her eyes full of fear. "What if it hurts you?" she asked. Lena swallowed. "What if it saves us?" She whispered back, before Arya could respond. A thunderous crash shattered the chamber entrance. The Jaren soldiers poured inside. Tall, armored, glowing blue with deadly energy. Their leader stepped forward, a massive alien with 4 shining eyes and a long black staff. "Vector," the leader said, his voice cold and sharp. "You belong to us." Arya aimed her blaster and fired. The soldier lifted his staff and blocked the shot with a burst of energy. Several soldiers rushed forward, weapons raised. Arya stood in front of Lena, her eyes fierce. "You will not touch her," she growled. The leader aimed his staff at Arya. A blue light formed at the tip. Bright, violent, deadly, but before he fired, the chamber pulsed with a massive wave of energy. Light exploded from the core sphere, a warm, silver wave that filled the entire room. Lena cried out and fell to her knees, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. The silver light wrapped around her like a living flame. The Jaren soldiers stumbled back, their armor flickering, their weapons dying. The leader hissed in anger. "She is awakening," he growled. Arya knelt beside Lena. "Lena, stay with me," she begged. Lena looked up at her sister, but her eyes were no longer the eyes of a normal girl. They shone with ancient power, human power, forgotten power. The whispers in her mind turned into a single clear voice. "You are the spark," it said. "You are the beginning." Lena lifted her hand without meaning to. A silver wave shot from her palm, crashing into the nearest soldiers. Their armor shattered like glass. They were thrown back violently. Sparks burst across the floor. Arya stared in shock. "Lena, what are you doing?" Lena shook her head, terrified. "I don't know," she whispered. "It's happening by itself." The leader stepped forward again. "You cannot resist what you are," he growled. "You are the weapon your ancestors left behind." Another wave of power surged through Lena. Her body glowed like a living star. Arya shielded her eyes from the bright light. The whispering ship spoke calmly. "Rise, Vector," it said. "Rise and protect your people." Lena stood slowly, her small figure glowing brighter and brighter. Energy swirled around her like a silver storm. The Jaren soldiers backed away in fear. For the first time in centuries, humans were not weak. Humans were not prey. Humans were rising. Arya stared at her sister with a mix of fear and awe. "Lena, can you control it?" she whispered. Lena swallowed. "I can try." But before she could, a familiar voice echoed through the broken doorway. Cold, calm, unhurried. "I can help her," the voice said. Arya turned in shock. The faceless assassin stepped inside. And this time, he dropped to one knee before Lena. "You have awakened," he said softly. "Now the real war begins." The faceless assassin knelt before Lena, his silver mask glowing softly from the light pouring out of her body. His voice was calm, carried by a strange echo. "You have awakened, Vector," he said. "The galaxy has been waiting for you." Arya stepped in front of Lena at once. Her blaster raised, her eyes full of fire. "Get away from her," she warned. "I don't care who you are now," but the assassin didn't move to attack. He simply stood up slowly, his tone peaceful and heavier than before. "I am not your enemy," he said. "Not anymore." Lena watched him with glowing eyes, a strange calm settling over her. "It's him," she whispered. "He's been in my dreams." Arya felt her heart twist. "Why?" she demanded sharply. "How long have you been watching us?" The assassin lowered his head slightly. "Since the day she was born," he answered. "I was assigned to observe the awakening." Arya took a step back, shocked and furious. "You've been stalking my sister her whole life," she growled. "Why? What do you want from her?" The assassin spread his hands gently. "I want to protect her," he said. "For without her, humans will fall forever." Arya almost laughed in disbelief. "Protect her? You work for the Jaren Empire," she replied angrily. "You tried to capture her." "No," the assassin corrected quietly. "My mission was never to capture. It was to wait." Lena felt a chill move through her body. The silver light in her eyes dimmed slightly. "Wait for what?" she asked softly. The assassin turned toward her. "For the spark," he said. "For the return of ancient human power." Arya shook her head fiercely. "We don't want your ancient power or your war," she said. "We just want to go home." The assassin looked at her, a strange sadness in the blank silver mask. "Home no longer exists," he said. "The Jaren Empire will destroy Earth if they fear the spark." Lena gasped and stepped backward as fear wrapped around her chest. "No, they can't," she whispered. "They can't hurt Earth." The assassin's voice darkened. "They can and they will. They have done it to many worlds before." Arya clenched her fists. "Then why are you here?" she demanded. "Why warn us? Why help us?" The assassin finally answered the question that had been haunting them since the beginning. "Because I am not Jaren," he said. "I am a creation of the first humans. I was made to awaken when the spark returned." Lena stared at him with wide, fearful eyes. "You're one of them?" she whispered. "An ancient human machine?" The assassin nodded slowly. "I am a guardian," he said. "A protector designed to appear when the human bloodline rises again." Arya's anger began to melt into shock. She lowered her blaster slightly. "But why hide with the Jaren for so long?" she asked. The assassin answered simply, "To survive, and to wait for her." The ground shook suddenly as the Jaren leader roared behind them. "You cannot stop fate," he shouted. "Vector belongs to us." Arya fired her blaster again. Lena flinched as the leader blocked it easily with his staff. Blue lightning crackled in the air. Sparks shot across the floor. The assassin stepped forward protectively. "You will not touch her," he said. The Jaren leader laughed. "You are an outdated relic," he sneered. "You cannot stop the Empire." Lena's power surged again, the silver glow returning to her eyes and skin. She stepped forward without fear. "She is not yours," Arya said fiercely. "She is my sister." Lena raised her hand slowly. A soft wave of silver light spread out from her fingertips. The entire chamber brightened. The soldiers stepped back in fear. Even the Jaren leader hesitated for a moment. "You cannot control that power," he warned. "It will destroy you too." Lena didn't answer. Instead, she let the energy flow through her like a rising storm. The whispering ship's voice filled the chamber. "Unlock your spark," it said. "Awaken your true memory." More memories crashed through Lena's mind. 1,000 images of ancient humans, warriors who glowed like stars, children who moved mountains with a touch, worlds ruled by human strength before the fall. She felt herself becoming part of that history, a bridge between the lost past and the threatened present. Then she spoke, her voice deeper and steadier. "You will not hurt my family," she said. "You will not hurt Earth." The Jaren leader raised his staff to strike, but Lena unleashed a wave of power that shook the entire ship. The soldiers were thrown against the walls. Their armor cracked and their weapons shattered. The leader roared in fury but stumbled backward. He had never seen human power like this. Not in centuries, not since before the Empire's rise. Arya rushed to Lena's side. "Lena, that's enough," she whispered. "You'll exhaust yourself." Lena slowly lowered her hand. The silver glow fading to a soft shimmer. She leaned against Arya, breathing hard. "I'm okay," she whispered. "I just needed to protect us." The assassin approached them calmly. "She is awakening," he said, "and the Empire will not stop." Arya lifted her chin, her fear replaced with determination. "Then we fight," she said firmly. "We protect Earth and every human colony." The assassin nodded respectfully. "You will not be alone," he said. "A rebellion has been waiting for this moment." Lena looked up at him with tired but determined eyes. "What do I need to do?" she asked. The assassin placed a hand over his chest. "You must lead," he said. "You must unite the lost humans and bring back what your people once were." Arya placed an arm around Lena. "She won't do it alone," she said. "She has me." The whispering ship hummed softly, its lights glowing bright once more. "Prepare yourselves," it said. "A great war is coming." Lena took a deep breath, her fear replaced with courage she didn't know she had. "I'm ready," she whispered, "for the first time." "I'm ready," and so the two sisters, the ancient assassin and the whispering ship, stood together at the edge of a new beginning. A beginning that would shape the future of every human in the galaxy. Because the spark had risen, and the war for humanity had just begun.